And the next thing I wanted to talk about that you hear a lot of, and I know this is what some of you guys wanted me to get into because, and the only reason why I'm laughing is because you hear this term a lot, and obviously this type of individual or these type of people can be obstacles, but the thing that I hear people talk about the most a lot when it comes to whatever it is they're trying to do is my haters. You hear that term, my haters. They're hating on me, they're jealous of me, they're envious of me. Man, let's dig into that because, man, if I had a dime for every time I hear somebody say they're hating on me and they're just a bunch of haters, they're jealous, they don't like what I'm doing, I would be a very wealthy man. So let's dig into that because that is something that I won't say I won't say a lot of individuals, but a good amount of individuals, they love to bring up when whether they're doing something or not. I've seen people that are not really necessarily doing a whole lot feel like a ton of people are hating on them. It's just one of those terms that we love to use. I don't know what it is about feeling like people are hating on us. And obviously there's time that people can be jealous and envious and can be hating, but it seems like there's a satisfaction that we get from that when we feel like there's somebody that is watching us and they're hating what it is that we're doing. But I want to talk about that. And the first thing I want to say, to that and about that is if you want to limit your jealous people or your haters, whatever term, we'll use haters for the sake of what we're talking about. If you want to stop the quote unquote haters, one of the major things you got to stop is stop telling people all your business. The visions, the ideas God has given you, the things that you're trying to accomplish. That's one of the major things that draw hate to your life or may draw jealousy is by you constantly telling your business what you're getting ready to do, how you're getting ready to do it. Listen, you have to stop that. One of the main things that you should be allowing to speak for you is your progress, because when you go forward and do what it is that you are meant to do or that you're going to do, listen, it will speak for you. You don't have to always constantly tell people what it is that you're going to do. And not only may it draw hate to your life, but it also will cause you to be inconsistent. Because one thing I've learned is sometimes when we talk a little too much about something that we're getting ready to do, sometimes 9 times out of 10, the more we speak about it, the more it does not come to pass. So even on the other side of things, you have to be careful not to constantly just be babbling off what it is that you're doing or what it is that God has shown you, because sometimes you are drawing satisfaction by just telling the story and you'll look up and you haven't done anything. And I see that happen a lot. I saw that happening with me in the past. I would tell people, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then it just, God, and even sometimes just talking with my wife is like, listen, you got to stop talking about that stuff and just get it done, and I appreciated that because I needed that, and that's what I'm saying to you guys. Listen, you just got to get it done. But if you want to limit some of the people that are hating on you, stop telling them what God showed you and what it is that you're going forward and going to do. Remember, Joseph told his brothers his dreams. And remember, the scripture says that made them hate him even more. And if you remember, before they threw him in a pit and they saw him in the distance, remember what they said. This was very powerful. They said, here come this dreamer now. Let's kill him and see what becomes of his dreams. Yes, there are haters and dream killers out there, and that's why you have to keep those things to yourself. Let them be surprised when you are getting the results from what it is that you are supposed to be doing. Another story that I'm reminded of when it comes to dealing with haters. Son Isaac, when you read Genesis 26, verses 14 and 15, this was something that he was dealing with when it came to the Philistines. It says, for he had possession of flocks and possession of herds and great store of servants. And the Philistines envied him. They envied him because of the things that he had. And look at what they did. It says, for all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham, his father, the Philistines had stopped them and filled them with earth. So listen to what it's saying here. It says, all the wells that were dug by his father's servant, by Isaac's father's servant, it says the Philistines had stopped them and filled them with earth. So all of the wells that they had dug, they just basically filled them with dirt. And what they did was every time Isaac would go and dig somewhere else, they would do the same to him. But listen to what it says in Genesis chapter 26, if you go down to verse 22, it says, and he removed from thence and digged another well. So now he's somewhere else digging another well. And for that they strove not. Talking about the Philistines, it says that at this point when he's here digging this well, it says, for they strove not. The word strove there means to contend in opposition. Once again, we talked about opposition, to battle for, or any conflict, to compete. So he says they are no longer trying to compete with him at this point. And it says, and he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, for now the Lord have made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. So it said that they were striving with him, that they were contending with him, that they were his opposition, that they were competing with him. And that's another thing that you're going to get from people when you are trying to do something, when you come up with an idea, especially when you let somebody know what it is that you're doing. They will turn it into a competition. Sometimes they may try to steal your idea, but nobody can do what you were meant to do. But a lot of times they will compete with you. A lot of times they will battle with you, whether that's trying to put negative, thoughts in your mind or whatever the case may be. They will end up being your competition. But I love what he says here in verse 22, and I think it's super key for us and something that we should remember. It says, for now the Lord have made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. So what is he saying here? He says, listen, all of that opposition that they were trying to do against me, just like we saw Jesus in the garden with the devil, he says, all of that battling they were doing with me, all of the conflict that I was going through, all of the competing that they were doing against me, listen, I didn't allow that to be my fight. I allowed the Lord to work those things out. Only thing I did was I kept on abounding in the work. Guess what he kept doing? He just kept digging wells. He didn't let what they were doing bother him, and he allowed the Lord to work out that opposition. And I think that is key when it comes to those that we like to call our haters. And I'm going to share another scripture with you. Romans 12:19, it says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, this is God talking, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. So if there's anybody that's causing you hate, or that you consider a hater, that's causing opposition in your life, you have to allow the Lord to deal with that situation. And